Well, really bad news. Phil Campbell, never saw that one coming. I'd heard Phil was having to have an operation, so they'd cancelled some gigs he was in with the band, Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons. I think they were quite high profile gigs as well for an operation he needed. I didn't know how severe the operation was. No one did, outside of people who knew him very well. And unfortunately, he didn't come around from it. He's passed away at the age of just 64. All the other members of Motorhead that have gone, Fast Eddie, Phil, Taylor, Lemmy, Wurzel. I knew they were all not in the best of health. I mean, Lemmy obviously, but the others as well. I mean, Larry Wallace, of course, as well. But there wasn't such a spotlight on him or something. I don't know what he died of, anything. But yeah, remember Motorhead, and rest in peace, of course. But Phil Campbell, I had no idea, and he was only 64. And recent years, he was teetotal, non-smoker. He'd given all those things up. I'm not saying that, people get away with it. I don't know if it was related to rock and roll lifestyle. Probably doesn't help, does it? Let's be honest. Things tend to catch up on you. But that's speculation. I don't know. Could have been anything. This is, I recently did a review, sort of Motorhead guitarist, and I feel bad now because one thing I'm talking about Phil, I mentioned I'd seen an interview when he was well, anyway, it was an interview he did for a foreign journalist. I wasn't that impressed with the way it went down, shall we say, and I feel bad now, but it's kind of benefit for hindsight. But one thing I did say, and I'd never ever take away, was what a fantastic, amazing guitarist he was, and how important he was to Motorhead. Sort of stalwart, is that the word? Pronunciation rather, just trying to find it, but just especially when he said himself had to step up to play it after Wurzel left, and they made Overnight Sensation, which is one of my favourite albums, a variety of it after something like Sacrifice, which for me was always just way too which apparently was one of the reasons, Wurzel liked all that, so that was one of the reasons why he cut out. He didn't want all the acoustics and stuff in Motorhead. But then for me, like Overnight Sensation, you've got Listen to Your Heart. So just a variety of it. It's something like Civil War, which is a straight, I think it's drop D and a really vicious riff, a really good dirty riff, and then something like the variety of it. And Phil Campbell would say, he said himself, I think his words were, I had to step up to the plate. It's in Mick Wall's excellent biography of Lemmy. And he said that, when Wurzel left, they thought they needed, Mickey and Lemmy thought they needed another guitarist, and Phil said, I want to carry this on my own. I want to try this on my own. And he said, believe me, if it's not working out, I'll be the first to tell you. And then it was Lemmy who said, after 2 songs, the first rehearsal we had with just him, within 2 songs we knew it was great, we didn't have to worry about it. And on stage as well, he started moving around, doing that running around and stuff before. And so I've got, because in that book as well, Mick Wall's book, he said, Fast Eddie said, the only thing that ever annoyed me about Phil was the fact he didn't move around on stage. But obviously that changed after Wurzel went. But my friend who I was in a band with, I played bass, and he was a guitarist in this band years ago called Ayatollah, who was actually the one I've said before was managed by Fast Eddie Clarke. Apparently Fast Eddie he remembers Fast Eddie saying that Fast Eddie thought that Phil Campbell was the best guitarist that Motorhead ever had. I don't remember Fast Eddie saying that in a conversation I had with him, and I never heard my mate say that he heard Phil Fast Eddie says before, but I'm not saying it's not true. So apparently Fast Eddie was very effusive. I've got to stop trying to say words I don't know what they mean or can't pronounce properly. About Phil Campbell's guitar ability, and I don't think there was any questioning. Anyway, there was no question that he was fantastic and brilliant, and so important to Motorhead over the years, and their progression and development. For everyone who's not in it's a classic era, after everything after that was crap, or they were just, going by, what do you call it, and just going through the motions. Apart from those people who can go over there, there was real development and everything, kind of right up to the end as far as I'm concerned. They always said there was no fourths in Motorhead. If you're a guitarist, the fourth suspended. I'm going to have to do it now, aren't I? So it's a live version of Shoot You in the Back when they had Robbo in, and Robbo, they're all false. He did did that, and someone said no fourths in Motorhead, and everyone agreed. The Pete Townsend chord, but right at the end, you know, the sky comes looking for you. What fantastic titles! What do you do? What do you do? And it's like, it's just that, it's that riff, isn't it? What are you gonna do? But Phil finally stuck a fourth in there, and it worked fantastic with Motorhead. So you got over that one. Just my little observation there. Yeah, so I mean, there's could just go on and on with talking about Phil and Motorhead and that, but it was my sincere, absolute condolences to his family, his sons, and such a shock. And I don't want to rub salt in the wounds, but you know, only 64. I thought he'd had a lot more time, but rest in peace, Phil Campbell, and thank you so much for everything.